this. Yeah. While they're getting that rolling afterwards, we're going to have social time. Oh, we're up and running. Social time over in the other building with sandwiches and everything. So we'll migrate over there when we're done. So welcome to our online broadcast, to our Sunday service on May 22nd. March 22nd. For some random month I just pick out of the air. I do that so often. I don't know why. Okay, yes, March 22nd. And today's going to be a special day, and I'm going to just explain it all to everybody here and to our online audience. So we're recognizing and celebrating the advancement of Reverends Lynn and Jerry from associate ministers to ministers. Yes, well deserved. Yes. This is also a celebration for Connie and Jen and I, as well as we were their teachers for a year, and then we've been, supporting them this year of being an associate minister. And so, thank you, ladies, and us for that year also. So it's a celebration for us. And as they have dedicated their time and talent to this journey, and we have the joy of supporting them and watching them grow, and it's really a beautiful thing. And as an associate minister, they take on a partial role, but these two jumped into the deep end right from the beginning. So it's well deserved. So for my opening prayer, I'm going to do the opening prayer. Jen's going to give the message, and then we'll be recognizing Lynn and Jerry and sharing a small message from them. And then Connie is going to give the closing prayer, and then we'll migrate over to the other building for all the good stuff. Sorry for you guys online, but there's some advantage for being in person here. Yeah, so join me for our opening prayer. So let us fill our hearts with gratitude for this day and this occasion for being together. And thank you to our ministers for answering the call of the Spirit. And we ask for continued guidance and wisdom and the many blessings on theirs and our spiritual journey. I also want to express gratitude for our amazing community for your support for the Home Spiritual Center and our ministerial students as they have stepped into leadership and their ministerial calling, and let it be so. Amen. All right, I call upon Reverend Jen to come up and deliver a message. It's so fun when we get to wear our stoles, too. Yeah. Well, good morning, and welcome to our friends online. We're glad that you're joining us this morning. So this morning, like Reverend Madge said, we are celebrating our associate ministers, and my message is around that. A little over 10 years ago, I was ordained as a minister in another spiritual community. And really, it was part of a program that I was in, and it was kind of the next steps. And there were several of us in that program, and our teacher asked at some point what our ministry would be. What would our ministry be? And the answer came pretty easy to me: grief. Not to cause it, not to cause grief, but to support those who were grieving or are grieving, and more specifically around death. So I had a personal experience with this, as navigating much of my grief. I did that through service, being in service. So it seemed like a really simple answer, because I knew that I was not going to be a pulpit minister. I knew it. I'm just not preacher material. And I was terrified of speaking in public, having people look at me and listen to me, like really scared the bejesus out of me. So I continued to do my work with those who are grieving. So fast forward a few years, I walked back through this door. Dang it. And I came home.
So I've shared my story about my journey into ministry before. So if you've heard it before, you've heard it before. I'm not going to apologize for that. So I asked Madge when I came back, what would it take for me to be ordained? And she said, well, just come through the ministerial program. And you've heard this, but I scoffed. I'm already a minister. And that program was exactly what I needed, an applied ministry. And it sent me on an entirely different path, a different trajectory from my life. And there were several of us that came through this program. And when our founder, Jay, passed, Madge and the team, and I believe the team was Connie and Dick was giving our prayers, offering our prayers. And what I recall from that meeting was Madge asking who was willing to help. Who was willing to help? And without hesitation, I said, I'm in. I'm in. I had no idea what that meant. I really didn't know what I was in for. But I felt that nudge. And I still can't completely explain it, but I felt myself lean in. We were on Zoom, lean in and raise my hand. Like I felt it. It was a calling. No fear, no hesitation, no nervousness till I got up here, right? And along the way, I questioned myself. I asked, what am I doing up here when sometimes my life feels so messy? Why would anybody want to hear what I had to say? Can I walk my talk? Can I be congruent with all of the things that we teach here? So, and I had an experience after that stuck with me for a while. It was in the first year of I think I was still an associate minister. And I was up the river with one of my sisters who was also an associate minister. And there was a couple that was camped on the riverbank. And I can't remember exactly what brought them or brought us all into conversation, but they came over and they sat with us. We shared snacks with them. And if you know me, I love to take fried chicken to the river. So we shared our chicken at the river and we listened to them. They were experiencing some struggles. And my sister was a little bit hesitant because they looked a little bit rough. And they were houseless. They weren't working. And they were doing things to support their habits that they were ashamed of. So we spent several hours with them, talking and listening to them and really loving on them, these strangers, right? And at some point, the sun started to go down, and we said our farewells. And as we began packing up our belongings, my sister looked at me and she said, even on the river, even in your bikini, you are a minister. And that was really pivotal for me. You know, it affirmed that I am on the path that I belong on. And as I think of that experience, it has come pretty easy for me to be with people, to sit with people in really, really tough times. So I've been ministering my whole life, or a lot of my adult life. And I'm sharing this because I think many of us, many of those online can relate. A definition of ministry is acts of serving or caring for others in a spiritual way. So at its root, the word ministry comes from the idea of serving others. So when we are giving something in a responsible and an intentional way, we are administering. We're providing something to someone. Maybe it's care or maybe it's support. When you offer guidance or when you share wisdom, when you provide attention or encouragement, you're in ministry. When you are responsibly giving, when you are in thoughtful stewardship of resources and knowledge, those things that you're offering, presence, you are in service. Ministry doesn't have to be limited to a title or a role within a church or within an organization. It's an expression of care and presence. When we listen deeply, when we offer compassion, when we speak truth or encouragement, when we help others reconnect, we are ministering. Beyond formal religion, many spiritual teachers have pointed to this. Master teacher Jesus, he taught through acts of compassion and love and healing and presence, not just formal sermons or lectures. And the Buddha shared wisdom aimed at relieving suffering, which is another ministry. And I understand that what we do, what some of us, what all of us ministers do, sharing messages or offering counsel in the way that we do, isn't for everyone. And I believe that there's a quiet truth within each of us. Ministry isn't reserved for a few. It's not something that we're given. Ministry lives in the way that we show up. It lives in the way that we listen to others, the way that we speak kindness, and the way that we love. Each of us, every single one of us, has something sacred to offer. Perhaps it's a way of seeing the world, or maybe it's a way of loving, or a way of reminding others who they are. You're probably already doing it, right? You're probably already doing it. You don't have to become someone new. Your ministry is already speaking through you in the way that you nurture, or maybe it's in the way that you notice, the way that you hold space for another human being. Some ministries are quiet. There's a gentle presence, unseen moments of compassion or guidance. A quiet ministry is the love that you offer when no one applauds, yet somewhere, someone is deeply changed by. And some ministries are expressive. They're visible, they're outward. Maybe it's a role in leadership, standing right here behind the podium. And they all matter. They all matter. And at the heart of it, ministry is being willing to be a vessel of love, a vessel of wisdom and compassion in our community and in the world. That's something that each of us can do right here, right where we are, right now. Sometimes this calling becomes clear, so alive, like in my case, that it asks to be lived in a more visible way. It calls for us to be forward with it. And today, we have the honor of recognizing those who have said yes to that call, and they've chosen to step forward in an expressed and in a devoted way. Reverend Lynn and Reverend Jerry, they've answered that nudge to step forward, to embody the ministry. And it's been a joy, truly an honor to walk alongside both of you. And may the love and the devotion that called you forward continue to flow through you and guide you on your path. And so it is. I invite Reverend Madge back up.
Thank you so much for that beautiful message. That was great. And so we'll move into the next segment of this, but I will also kind of echo some of the things that Jen has said. But I want to start out with recognizing that Connie and Jen and I are very deeply honored today to bring such special recognition to Lynn and Jerry for their hard work and their dedication to this ministry. And they have more than earned this recognition and the advancement from associate minister to a minister. One thing I want to speak a little bit about our ministry, and that is because we are an independent organization and we don't answer to a parent organization, we can do things our way. We don't have to follow a curriculum or what is sent to us like other churches have to. And I'm so grateful for that Jay set it up that way. And so when we have had our ministerial programs, every one of them has been different. And this one that we had that Lynn and Jared came through, it was set up for what we needed at the time. And what we needed at the time was support up here, because it was just the three of us. Dick was supporting with prayers, but it was the three of us doing the ministry, and we have 2 services a week. So it's like we need support up here. So we tailored the whole year to be supportive up here, and these two stepped in full on to the role of it, even as associate ministers. As an associate minister, you have the option of not being as deeply involved in carrying the full responsibility. And there's different kinds, many, many different kinds of ministries. There's music ministries, there's children's ministry, there's prayer ministry, there's healing ministry. There's all kinds of roles that can be um, applied to a ministry. And so that they had the choice of staying an associate minister, but both of them early on said, nope, we're full in. So right from the beginning, they jumped into the deep end and carried the full load of the responsibility and the full rotation of being up here and everything that it requires. And they are very capable now of running a full-on church service. And that was our goal, is to have that kind of support. And they've done a really good job. And they are continuing to carry the full load. And they made it seem seamless. I don't think you guys even noticed after they graduated that they were associate ministers. I mean, they just jumped in, and so they really did it seamlessly, and we couldn't be prouder. So now I want to move into to honoring and acknowledging independently. I'm going to start with Lynn. So Lynn, come on up here. Reverend Lynn, let's call her by the name she earned. And the part of becoming a full-on minister is receiving a stole. That's the recognition of it. So allow me. So our stoles have the moon phases on one side, and they have an independent chosen symbol of what is selected for the individual on the other side. And so that one is yours, my dear. Can you talk? She's like holding her breath. Don't pass out on us. You're welcome. And she's going to share a few words about her journey. We'll see, huh?
We'll see. Give me a minute to breathe. Just a second. Well, first, good morning to everyone, and good morning to my family and other friends that are watching online. Thank you all for being a part of this very sacred day in my life. When I was asked 2 years ago to join the ministerial team here at Home Spiritual Center, I felt so honored, and a little scared, truth be told. I had been a prayer chaplain in New Mexico before I moved back home to Oregon, and I loved every minute of that. But that's one-on-one prayer. This, standing up here at the podium as a full minister, is quite different. I have been asked what my ministry is about, and that is so easy to answer from my heart. It's about every one of you, and every one of you online. The support and the encouragement I have received from everyone is more than I could ever have imagined. From the first day I attended services, even before coming into ministry, while facing some very overwhelming challenges and situations in my life, so many of you were holding me up when I didn't have the strength to hold myself up. And for that, I will always be so very appreciative. My ministry is also about the Home Spiritual Center. And again, from the first day I walked in here, I could breathe. I had never felt that sense of belonging, sense of spirituality in any church I had ever been to. And I can breathe. It's amazing. I don't know if there's another environment anywhere that is like Home Spiritual Center. To be able to teach and to grow and to spread my wings while I am helping others do the same. Worshiping together in this aura of light that is inclusive, welcoming, and understanding, as well as supportive of everyone's personal journey. Your personal spiritual journey is supported by everyone and every minister here. And that is what makes Home Spiritual Center so splendidly distinctive. Here we are able to learn and to grow together. We can cry and heal together. But mostly, we love together. And I believe that with love, all things are possible. Even that. The design I chose for my stole on this side, I'd like to discuss that with you and share my emotions about it and my feelings about it.
Online.
Oh, oh. Here, hello. This design represents what I will endeavor to live up to and always to keep at the forefront of my life as well as my ministry. The meanings of the symbols are, we'll start with the vertical infinity, which is basically a figure 8. And it's a little different than the horizontal infinity. It means the continuous flow of energy, spiritual awakening, the balance of heaven and earth, and the cosmic order, and the eternal, harmonious movement of life. Put it this way. How's that? The lotus heart, there's a heart in the middle of the lotus, represents the spiritual center where divine consciousness, love, and purity reside. The seat of the soul, or even the Lord's temple. I have a nice heart up here. The heart is the core, the very core of human existence, bridging humanity with the divine, with love, with truth, and inner consciousness. Decision making, our moral will and intuition, human life, and spiritual truth. This is surrounded by beautiful olive branches, which represent peace, new beginnings, hope, endurance, as well as divine blessing. The never-ending circle that is surrounding these symbols encloses everything within a spiritual sanctuary of unity, wholeness, as well as infinity. The divine feminine's nurturing and creative power of the universe are all enclosed in there. So for that, I say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our online family, to my family. Kisses and hugs. Thank you all. Thank you.
Nice job. All right. That was lovely. Wear it proudly. All right. Let me call upon Reverend Jerry. Yes. All right, my friend. There you go.
Wow.
Looks quite stunning against that black.
Yes.
Yes. All
That was
right.
intentional. Oh,
All
I'll
yours.
just jump right in. Okay.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
jump right in.
Great. Fix. the collar. Uh-huh.
Oh, got a little twist in it?
Okay. All right. Better? How's that? Okay. Thank you. Wow. Great talk, Lynn. Reverend Lynn. Sister Reverend Lynn. Partner along this wild ride. Wow. I didn't prepare anything really to speak to specifically this morning, mainly because as I was visiting my journey over the last few days, I just cried. To be honest with you. So I'll start by saying this. The magnetism that I felt moving into ministry and moving into the program, which I'll get to in just a second, was very, very strong. And to the idea of taking on a partial role in ministry just coming out of the program is like telling my scalp it'll be partially bald. Whew, okay, icebreaker. There we go. Okay, wow. I'm going to speak a little bit about myself here for a moment, and I think by proxy, I'll probably end up speaking about a lot of us in this world. I was born at the tail end of the 20th century, right? The 1970s, and I came into this world. As I look back on the child that I came into this world brilliant, beautiful, radiant. I really, as I look back on that little guy who moved through this world at that time, I saw a disco ball of just mirrors. It was so important to me that people in my life knew how much I loved them. They knew how special they were. They knew how radiant they truly are inside. And then you start to get older, and for me, in my case, it was cars and then girls and then, fooling around with a little bit of weed and other things like that in my life that kind of slowly led me out of that space and into a 3D lifestyle, into this lifestyle where the things that we have are so important and the things that we show are so important. And for me, having also come from a broken family, my father left our family when I was just 6 years old. And so for me, I had these ideals in my head also about being a father and a provider and what that all meant from TV. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? Try running a Brady Bunch family in real life. It does not work, right? So fast forward many, many years, a brutal divorce that divorced me from the person that I thought I was. And I found myself lost. I was no longer the everyday father that I thought I was. I was no longer the everyday husband and the provider. And I didn't know who I was. And I think like many of us, we fall. And I fell hard. It was a long fall, 10 years. Bottom of the bottle. Yeah. Making bad choices. Yeah. And like Jen, thanks for crying. You got that out of my way. I found this place, actually, through a bar buddy. Who, by the way, to the credit of the home center, was sober already for a year. He found this place. And then he brought me here. And through that, we began the Rising Sons with a couple of other amazing brothers who offered each other incredible support, vitality, vulnerability, the things that we need to heal. I was asked not too long ago, well, actually, it has been a little while ago. Thanks, Lynn, for reminding me. It's been 2 years that we've been on this path. I was asked about a year ago by a minister of another local church, why do you want to get into what's the point? Why do you want to get into ministry? And I felt like it was a challenge at first, but the answer was easy. The answer was easy. It's because today, the reason I was crying every time I tried to write this talk is because I see me. I'm going to cry now. I see me. I see me I see that little guy. That guy that's supposed to bring this light into this world. Every single one of us is that guy, that girl, that they, that we. Every single one of us. And I want to help bring that forward in people. I want to show the courage that it takes to stand up to fear. And to, where's the note? Where's the Jen's? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry. This is the light. This is what I want to share with people. That song that Jen played earlier, on the other side of fear is incarnation. That's powerful to me. That's where life is. That's where creation is. That's where freedom is. And I just want to share that with people. I want to help people find that in themselves so that they don't have to look outside for that. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. But I will say that actually, I've got one more note here that I'm going to share. And I will say, through the work that I've done here with my brothers and sisters, the experience, the leadership, I have challenged all of my nevers. I once said I'd never believe in God. I once said I'd never forgive my father. I once said I would never value or find love in myself. I once said I'd never be married again. And I once said I would never live freely or have joy. I'm so glad that I was a liar. Thank you.
That was beautiful. That's a hard act to follow. I'm telling you, that was really great from both Lynn and Jerry. Love your testimonies. I got tears in my eyes. I don't know about you guys. Woo, that was good. Yeah, we've all found ourselves along this journey, and it doesn't have to be through ministry. It can be through any and every kind of other kinds of activities in your world and other kinds of choices where you find the heart of you, find that authentic self in you, and whatever way that is, find that way, and go down that path and find that journey, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be this path, but it can be a different path. There's many paths. I tell these religious study students that I sit with that there's many paths to the one mountain. Yes. And so find that path for you. All right. So now that we have got you all shook up, it's time for our offering to the home center. So get your offering ready into your hands. And as we prepare our offering to the home center, let's hold it in our hands and charge it up with the energy of alignment, generosity, and sacred intention. We know that we are a part of the greater circulation of good, and that our gifts will multiply for the highest healing, growth, and service to us and our community. As the basket is coming around, please fill it with your blessings, and we thank you for your generosity and for the continued support of our good works. And so it is. All right. While the basket's going around, I will call Connie up to share an inspiration, our closing prayer. Is it just a closing prayer, or do you have an inspiration? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll wait till the basket completes going around. So I was thinking about my own path on being ordained, and I was ordained in 2006. So this is 20 years for me. Yeah. I started really thinking about, oh my gosh, 20 years. Where did that go? That flew by. And I knew that when I came here to Home Center in 1990, I committed in 1999 and said, okay, I'm jumping jumping in the deep end. I'll commit, and I'm here. And so I got involved in the administrative part of things right away and started moving through it. And then, and my husband Joe at the time, he became ordained, and I knew that his health wasn't going to hold up for very long. So I thought, I'm not going to jump into that kind of leadership and give him a chance to fly his sail for a while. And so he did, and he did that until he couldn't. And then I said, okay, well, and then I was kind of feeling the nudge, but I was fighting it. I got invited to speak, as up here at the podium, and I'd taken Toastmasters, and so all that kind of stuff. And so I was doing all the stuff of ministry, but I wasn't a minister. No, I wasn't going to do that. I didn't want that label. I didn't want the responsibility in other people's minds. And so I was at the coast at Lincoln City at one of Mary Morrissey's conferences. She had the Living Enrichment Center up in Wilsonville, and she was a friend of Jay's, and I got to know her through Jay. And so at that conference, she pulled me up on the stage and introduced me as a minister of the home center. I said, oh, swear word. I'm being a hypocrite. I guess I better jump in. So before I even left the coast, I called up Jay and I said, okay, I'm ready. I got to do this. This is ridiculous. And so he said, okay. And so I started down the path at that time too. So yeah, so now the rest is all history, but that's how I got into it. I tried really hard not to, but the best things in my life come through the back door. The best things in my life, I fight like crazy. No, 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 no. And as I'm fighting the front door to keep it closed, they come in the back door. I don't know why I try to fight it, but it's just what I do. And it still gets me. Yep. All right. So I'm going to invite Connie up to do our closing prayer. And then so then after the closing prayer, sorry about that. After the closing prayer, then you close the broadcast, and then we can migrate over to the other building for our refreshments after the closing song.
Well, I feel like I need to follow up a little bit with how I became a minister. Although this is a rerun from a few weeks ago. In some respects, my calling began at a different church. When I was speaking to the congregation there was just this welling up feeling within my heart that maybe this is something I'd like to do. But I didn't pursue it through that particular church. I had a conversation with Reverend Jay at one point, just kind of get acquainted type of thing. And I really went in the restroom and said to myself, he's thinking I should be a minister. No. Pushed it away. But the only program that was available that particular winter here at the home center, because we didn't have all of the wonderful programs we have today at all, was the ministerial program. Well, I had no idea at the end of that meant you could become a minister. So again, I said, no. But then they decided that there had to be a third section to this. And I'd only taken 2 sections, so I got asked if I'd like to take the third section. And again, now you could become ordained if you want. No, don't think so. But I thought about it for a while and then decided, yes, they could use my support and help. And yes, I like to help people. So I became a minister. That's my story. And I've been at it for 8 years at this particular church. So, as we come to the end of this time we have spent together this morning, in community and in celebration of these 2 lovely people, let us take a moment to voice our gratitude to Spirit, Divine Creator, God, for bringing Lynn and Jerry to us, to serve as leaders in the role of ministers here at our home spiritual center. We are very grateful in our hearts to receive these 2 and to receive the blessings that they have brought to this church and will continue to bring to this church. And we just support them with love and light. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Connie. All right, so we're gonna have our closing.